Previously on Mushroom Journeys.
Whoa, dude. Can you see that giant mushroom? I mean, how could you not? Oh, 2 of them. Monsters. 3 even. Oh. So this is a very big, interesting mushroom. The Platterful mushroom. Megacollybia rodmanii. This is one of the bigger mushrooms you can find, especially this time of year. It seems to be when I find them, and always after a big rain as well. This is a mushroom that looks quite a bit like the deer shield, except for it will have white gills instead of the kind of pinkish tinge gills of the deer shield. But both of them will be found on decaying wood. Sometimes the wood can be buried underground. Yeah, this mushroom is not known to be toxic, but it is said to be inedible. There's no tradition of eating it here in the eastern United States, and apparently the texture and flavor aren't so great, and it might give a little gastric upset as well. So not one you want to collect for consumption, but a really cool one you can find in June. Often it can be in big groups and get really big, 6 inches across, and when it opens up and matures, the caps can kind of split and fray like this. All right.
It's mushroom time, let's go outside, see what we find. It's mushroom time, it's time for mushroom journeys.
Hey friends, first week of June here. I already put my shiitake logs in their summer stack, got them out of the crib stack, and surprise, surprise, another fruiting. First week of June. That's probably the latest I ever remember harvesting shiitakes. It did get down in the low 40s recently, so that might have something to do with it. And also maybe when I changed them from the winter formation to the summer formation, knocked them around, that woke them up again. There's a little tradition in Japanese shiitake cultivation where you knock on the log to awake the spirits. Now let's head out and go look for some mushrooms in the wild. Part 1, we explored the forest, saw what kind of mushrooms you can find in the woods there, and part 2, we're going to look for mushrooms that you can find along roadsides and pastures and yards and other waste type areas. So yeah, let's go take a look. All right, let's see if we can find anything interesting. Spice bush swallowtail and turtle. Hi turtle. That's a good spot. Here is not 1, not 2, but 3 Amanita mushrooms. These are yellow patches mushrooms. You can find them in the woods or in the grass and along roadsides. And these are found all over the eastern United States, including the extreme northeast and Florida and down in Mexico. You can see the egg sac, the universal veil that the Amanitas spring out of. And you can also see the little scales on top. Those are actually part of the universal veil that break off when the mushroom expands out of the egg sac. And that's how you can tell this yellow patches Amanita Flavoconia from the Amanita jacksonii, or the Caesar type mushroom. The Caesar mushroom will not have scales on the top, but the yellow patches will. It is not said to be edible, although they do not last very long in the woods. The deers and the squirrels and other animals seem to like them quite a bit. All right, let's see what the next thing is. Oh, here's a cool fungus. Here we have a rubber cup, or peanut butter cup, sometimes people call it. Kind of velvety, dark outer side, and this kind of tan, orangish inside. It is eaten in like southeastern Asia, but listed as inedible in most North American mushroom field guides. All right, that's a cool one. Let's keep going. So in the forest, we found a lot of wood decomposing mushrooms, but along the roadsides and the pastures, waste areas, and lawns, we're going to find a lot of mycorrhizal fungi. These are fungi that emerge from the soil and live in a mutualistic symbiotic relationship with the roots of trees. All right, do we see any up here? Oh wait, check that out. There's a nice Russula, Sickener mushroom. Let me pull it up here. Some of the most mushroomy looking mushrooms in the woods are these Russula. Hi, slug. Was that you that put those holes in the top? But yeah, it's a beautiful mushroom. You can see the gills are attached there, and it's extremely brittle. But this is called the Sickener because if you eat it, it will upset your stomach quite a lot. All right, let's move on to these other ones. There you go, slug. All right, here are a couple. Okay, well, these little slimy, brightly colored mushrooms are Waxcaps. Waxcap type mushrooms are very colorful and very mucilaginous on top of their cap, very sticky and slimy. These are either the scarlet Waxcap, which is widely distributed, or the orange Waxcap, which is more rare. There's quite a number of these. There's a crimson Waxcap, a vermilion Waxcap, a golden Waxcap, and on and on. Very similar, all small and sticky, and some of the more colorful mushrooms you'll ever see if you're familiar with the parrot mushroom. That's one of the most interesting, most colorful mushrooms out there. But all these mushrooms are mostly known to be non-toxic and technically edible, but no one eats them. They don't taste very good, and also there's a risk of some dangerous lookalikes for these mushrooms. Love a good Waxcap. All right, let's continue. Uh-oh. Hold on. Yes. Yeah, I know. Okay. Oh, here's another mushroom up here. Ooh, this is going to be a big one. Impossible to tell at this stage what it is. It does look kind of death cappy with its smooth, slightly yellowish top and its white stem. But I don't know. Let's come back in a few days and see if we can get a better idea as to what this mushroom is. Aha! Our big white mushroom has a friend now. So here's the smaller one. The problem with big white mushrooms is that this could be like 50 mushrooms at this stage. It's really hard to identify them. This could be a death cap. Although death caps are unlikely here in southern Indiana, they're more prominent in the northeast and northwest of the country. But it could be that, it could be a destroying angel, it could be a false death cap, it could be tons of other different types of mushrooms. An undercautious or underinformed person might see a mushroom like this and think it looks like a delicious white button mushroom from the store and decide to eat it. That's exactly what you don't want to do with a big white mushroom, especially one with white gills. It is a problem. They are difficult to identify until they're in a more mature state. So now let's go over to our more mature one and pull it up and see what we think. Now that it's a little older, the cap has gotten wavy, and I do see that there is some color coming to the gills. And I did see some cottony fibers attaching the stem to the cap as it was opening up, and that makes me think that this is a Cortinarius mushroom. Cortinarius mushrooms, also called webcaps, have the kind of cottony cortina, those little fibers connecting the cap and stem when they open up. And they will also have a rusty brown spore print, which this is looking very much that way. I'll have to test that out. Yep. This is the Silvery violet Cortinarius. This is not an edible mushroom. No Cortinarius should ever be eaten. It's a genus much like the Amanitas, where the risks just far outweigh the rewards. It can be very difficult to identify big white mushrooms, so don't take any chances. What else we got? Anything? Ooh. So these little whirly twirly guys are elfin saddles, Helvella type mushrooms, a type of false morel mushroom. There are three genuses of false morels. We have the verpas, the gyrometras, and the Helvellas. It's not always saddle shaped, but sometimes it will have the two sides folding down and the other two folded up and look quite a bit like a little saddle. And it will have a kind of a stark white stem, big fat stem with these big ridges and furrows in it. And based on the time of year, I'm going to say these are Helvella lactea. It's a fairly rare elfin saddle that comes out more in the summer months, but you're more likely to see these in the form of the white saddles, or Helvella crispa, which is very widely distributed and comes out more in the fall. It could give you gastric upset or maybe even contribute to the neurodegenerative disease ALS. So I don't recommend eating this mushroom, but it is very cool to find. I wasn't really expecting to see any of these today. Let's see what else is out there. I see some other fungi across the street here. Coral fungus growing out of the moss. This is a wrinkled coral fungus, or wrinkled club fungus. Kind of cauliflower-esque in nature, but not a cauliflower mushroom. It has these kind of blunt ends, hence the club terminology. It is supposed to be technically edible, but supposed to be either bland or bitter, not a choice edible. The tasty edible crown tip coral will always be growing out of decomposing wood. These will be growing out of the ground. That's a nice one. All right, let's see what's next. Any mushrooms up here? Oh wow, look at this one. That is a beauty. Check that out. That is the American Parasol, an edible mushroom. Very happy to find that one. Let's pull it up and look at it a little closer. See the ring there? This kind of pinkish bruising. It's called the reddening lepiota, or the American Parasol. It's a mushroom you can find in the summery warm months of the year. It has these beautiful scales, this umbonate kind of button on top that will stay darker, and these little scales that can be rubbed off fairly easily. It does have a very strong staining reaction where it will turn kind of pinkish red. So I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of actual yellow staining on the cut there, and that will turn red over time. Definitely not a beginner mushroom. There is the green-spored parasol that makes people sick. Quite often not a deadly poisonous mushroom, but almost nearly a deadly poisonous mushroom. The green-spored parasol will often be found in lawns, sometimes in fairy circles or other large groups, whereas the American Parasol will most often be found in mulch or other decomposing organic matter. But yeah, we'll check back on this mushroom a little later. Yeah, way more red. Looks like meat, kind of. So that's a cool find. Pretty excited about that mushroom. let's move on and see if we can find anything else. All right. Let's see. What else we got? Anything? Oh. You're going this way. There you go. All right, that's pretty good. Actually, more than good. Oh, heck yeah. There's a nice turkey feather. Well, that was awesome. So many mushrooms. It really does help to have ideal conditions. Long dry spell followed by very heavy rains. Oh, baby deers. Oh no. Oh gosh, they're stuck in the fence. Okay. Where was I? I don't really remember. See you next time on Mushroom Journeys.